Digital is Here, India Online Marketing Trends 2015. Punit is deeply passionate about 3 I's, namely India, Internet.
Why? I'll give you the secret. Special month because sometime during this month, we as a nation, internet users in India, would have grown to a number that will surpass the number of online users in America. So sometime in December, this month, this is likely to happen. That when we go into the new year, 2015, perhaps the new number of online users in India would be greater than the number of online users in the US. This is a very interesting point to be observed while we discuss in the next 20 minutes my presentation with you on what's happening in digital marketing and how technology, how digital is challenging CMOs in India and what are the conversations they're going through. It's also a special day because as a presenter you go to many venues, you go to many places to present. I would like to call this as my debut at NCPA presentation. So it's a very special day for me in terms of my debut at NCPA. So if you're tweeting about it, you can. I'll have to retweet that later. But this is a special occasion. So what's happened in the last 12 months? There's a huge disruption in the way consumers are using technology. There are 3 areas: data, devices, and digital. These 3 Ds combined together are doing a disruption which is changing the way marketeers are engaging with consumers. We'll get into more into that in detail. So what I'm going to be sharing with you in the next 20 minutes are some ideas, some observations around 3 areas. One is what's happening with India consumers, data, device, and digital, a quick snapshot of where we were in 2010 and where we are 5 years later, and how does it look from here. If you look up next 5 years from now, how does the terrain look like? The second part is the digital DNA. Every year we do a study with marketeers in India. We go to them, we ask them what's worked for you in the last 12 months and what are your plans for next 12 months. And we do it around this time of the year, November, December. So while we have collected all the data, our study is complete from collecting feedback from the CMOs. We are processing it and we'll have a detailed report somewhere around last week of December, first week of January, when we're all fresh, 2015, and that report is available to us. So this will be our 5th annual report. So for the second part of my presentation, I borrowed heavily from some of the early previews or sneak peek for you guys to know what marketeers are saying about 2015 and where they plan to invest some of their marketing dollars or rupees in 2015. Adding 5 million new internet users every month in India. 95% of them will access internet for the first time through their mobile devices. Huge disruption. Phenomenal change. Quantum jump. This is not incremental change. Now what does it mean to you? Because many of you are resellers of technologies, you are VARs, and when you go to marketeers, what are marketeers thinking? So every year, I was sharing this with you earlier, we talk to marketeers, we are in touch with them because I run a company which is a marketing technology platform for digital one-on-one marketing. We have reseller panels, we work with many stakeholders in the system. But most importantly here, because of our position in the system and we work with 250 companies in India, we do talk to many marketeers across the year. Unstructured and of course structured in reports like these. This is a report from last year, 2013. The print copy of the 2015 report will be out shortly. And then if you'd like to have a copy of this, we'll be happy to share one with you if you drop an email or SMS me or tweet me later. Let's go ahead and see what marketeers in India are saying about what's worked for them in last 12 months, 2014, and what are their plans for 2015. So we have the first cut available with us for our research study for 2015. 465 marketeers have participated. They've given us some ideas, their opinions, inputs, and they're coming from many industries. And this is not just an independent effort of us going out and talking to marketeers. We are supported by RAI, which is the Retailers Association of India, We're supported by IMI, which is the leading association for India for internet mobile users, mobile companies, and of course DMAI, which is the Direct Marketing Association of India kind of equivalent, though they have changed the name now somewhat, but that's what they stand for. It's the leading body of marketeers, CMOs, who come together and discuss industry issues. So, as you can see, a very good representation across industries, 100 crores or less, of course, major participation, but still split up across different sizes of industries. We asked them this question, use of technology for marketing. Do you use technology for marketing? And if you look at the one, maybe it's looking like a green pie here. Yes, we heavily use tech for our marketing efforts. Let's move on ahead. We asked them this question, who takes decisions in your company for technology investments for marketing? And this is what the response was. It's still predominantly a CEO-led, understandably so, because a lot of these are not planned purchases, budgeted investments. They could be small, interesting projects, last 2 years, and now they need a bigger push. So boards get involved in terms of decision-making investments. Very interesting. We asked them this question, which has been your primary e-marketing? We call it e-marketing, you could call it online marketing, you could call it digital marketing. We asked them this question, which has been your primary e-marketing activity in 2014. And I was a bit surprised when I saw this, and I saw websites again. Don't you all have a website anyway? When you probe into this a little bit more, because of the mobile disruption in India, a lot of companies are redoing their entire website to make them responsive, make them more attuned to how a user experience would be on a non-desktop platform. And also, a lot of new content marketing is coming into fray. So a lot of CMOs are putting a lot of investments into content marketing as well. But let's continue to see how it's panning out to be. We asked them this question, how much of revenue contribution do you see from your e-marketing efforts? So revenue contribution, not visibility, not engagement. What is the revenue impact? And if you look at it here, 23% India marketers reported over 31% of the revenue contribution coming from e-marketing efforts. So my point here is, which is the title of my presentation today, we have heard about this digital, AAEGA, future of digital, tomorrow is digital. I would like to submit to you that digital is here. 2014, digital happened in India. Definitely happened for consumers. Marketers are catching up, but definitely things have changed and we have digital today. If you look at this number here, it's not a small number because we are going across all channels. This is not just a cut for e-commerce companies in India. This is across all sectors. That's a healthy sign that we're seeing e-marketing contributing to revenue, maximizing efforts of brands in India. Then we asked them this question, saying, okay, good, you're getting ROI, happy. What about which e-marketing channel is contributing towards your ROI the most? And email marketing, social media, Google AdWords, search, SMS, mobile. The common factor is that everywhere you see less than 10% for sure. That's where the maximum responses are. But if you look at the next blocks, next to the green one, look at the blue one, 11 to 20% of their ROI is coming from this e-marketing channel. So that's where we're seeing a lot more shift. And if you go, for example, to Google AdWords, you see a larger number even in the 21-30% share. So this is the ROI they have reported for 2014. We'll definitely have some interesting insights when we do a cut of this by sectoral slice, how are e-commerce companies or retail companies in India looking at this sort of ROI. But I didn't want to miss the opportunity to share some of this early sneak peek with you, so you have some insights there as you think about talking to marketeers in 2015 and maybe recalibrate your marketing messages or your material, etc. Importance of content marketing. So we asked them this question, how does it help you if you have good content marketing? And increase in brand awareness and engage your audiences came out as the top 2 areas. I'm not sure how many of you can read the fine print at the back, but you can of course get this later as well if you like. Then we asked them this question, how do you deploy content? And this is where I believe the community that's here has a role to play to help marketeers, be it their blogs and newsletters, be it their videos, because marketeers are looking for newer platforms, are looking for newer infrastructure, are looking for newer technology to help scale up how they deploy content as they look at next 12 months for sure. We asked them this question, how do you get maximum customer engagement? Which channel in e-marketing works for you the best? And not surprised, a social media update is the #1 channel, led after by with email campaigns, and then of course, SMS and newsletters as well. There's a distinction we made between newsletters, which are your typical broadcasting mechanism once in a month, versus a promotional campaign, which could be cyclical, or a product update campaign, which could be ad hoc and not every month kind of a periodic campaign. We got specific to email marketing, and this is where perhaps I'll be stopping, showing you a more sneak peek of this. Yes, we asked them this question, how has been email marketing effective for you in meeting its goals? And happy to report that 52% media marketers report email marketing did meet effective or most effective, somewhat effective or effective or very effective results against their targets. We asked them this question about impact of behavioral targeting in email marketing. We see a shift in our space where marketing campaigns, specifically email or SMS, which are triggered when the marketer wakes up and says, I have to do a promotional campaign. I think those campaigns you'll start seeing reducing more and more. And we're moving towards campaigns which are driven through consumers' engagement, behavior online on the site, or how you consume, or how the consumer consumed the social media updates. So we're seeing a lot of behavioral inputs which are leading towards automated, triggered, segmented, targeted, focused, one-to-one digital campaigns, and less of one mail shot for 5 million subscribers. We're seeing that sort of come down. This is where marketers have reported that yes, this can result in significant impact and increase in effectiveness of campaigns. Then we ask this question that how does social media play along with email? Does one help the other? Because we strongly believe that integrated communication is the way moving forward. It's not about one channel over the other, it's one channel and other channel. And this is what we got, saying that yes, it increases brand reputation. Also, it generates more leads, qualified leads if you combine the two together. Interesting inputs there. We moved ahead to 2015 and said, what will be your primary marketing goal in 2015? And given we are in a very fast growing consumer society, this is where online consumers coming on more and more online, customer acquisition continues to be #1 objective there. How many of you will increase marketing budgets? And 38% marketers said over 11% in 2015. We'll have a cut of this by industry, but this I thought would have been higher, on the higher side. They should have increased the marketing budgets for e-marketing, but this is one that we'll need to probably do some drill down into. In 2015, which e-marketing channels will you increase your investments? And again, good news if you are into website or web project business, that's where marketers will spend a lot more compared to other channels. So we can move ahead from here, and how much of your email marketing will be opened up on mobile devices? And this is again a disruption that has happened over the last 12 months in 2014. Most marketers now will tell you that their emails will be opened up 50% or more on mobile platforms in India. And that's a big shift from what they used to. How many of you do campaigns right now and you still design and deploy and test first on desktop platforms and then optimize for mobile devices? Guess what, in 2015 many of you will be designing and testing on mobile platforms and optimizing for desktop experience, because if majority of your users have gone online and are going through mobile devices, that's where the next opportunity would be. So let me just go back here and see if we can get the #2 video played, which is what we believe is what we see marketers doing with their CIOs and CSOs when they deploy technology. So can I have the video 2, please?
So I think the first thing that is going to happen is that as marketeers start to use rich media much more, the demands on storage will increase exponentially, and that is something CIOs may not have forecasted in, and suddenly they will be asked to acquire or enable more storage, and this storage will often need to be distributed. I mean, it won't be in a one centralized place. That will be one challenge. The second challenge will be the pressure on the networks within the organization. As you move around video and you move around very large files, there will be a huge pressure on the network, which was designed for data and intermittent data, but certainly not streaming video and stuff like that. The third thing is the demand from the marketing department and other departments on allowing access to a lot more employees to things like YouTube, Facebook, all these sort of social networks, maybe using technologies like Vine and Tumblr and all these things. The issue is not so much as allowing the access, but the challenge of making sure that you will not experience network breaches and security issues because of that. Because from what we have seen in the security front, that hackers and crackers are now using social media and other ways to penetrate the corporate networks. And while the tools are there, they're not as good enough, they're not as sophisticated to stop everything. And they often rely upon the intelligence of the users. But that might be harder if you've got lots of users and you are not necessarily very tech savvy about such things. The third thing would be the greater use of mobiles within the network. So as you have more marketing campaigns and all coming in through mobile platforms, the users, one will consume all this, so it will put a lot of pressure on the wireless networks within organizations. B is, if the marketing department starts using all this, they will want metrics. And so how do you measure all this? And the technologies which are out there are not evolved enough to give you good metrics, and so they will come back to the CIO and say, we are spending all this money, we need to measure this, we are already using all this stuff, now tell us how to do this. And I think there will be a challenge for the CIO's department to answer those queries, and it may be beyond their existing levels of competence to do this very quickly. The next thing would be, as you generate more data, there is this huge demand for big data and analyzing patterns and sifting through that. That will put a lot of pressure on the CIO department, because you may need to use technologies like Hadoop and all these things to crunch that amount of data in a reasonable frame of time. And if that's not something they are familiar with, they will have to acquire skills in those areas. But it will be hard for them to show an ROI on it. So if they go to the CFO and say, we need to put in all this technology and we need to hire 4 data scientists to do this stuff, the CFO or the CEO is going to ask, but what's the ROI? And that ROI, since it's a marketing project, the marketing department may not be able to show the ROI. So it will become again one of those things that who signs the check for this, and that would become a source of conflict between that. But overall, I guess that we will see marketers exploring all avenues. They would also like to do more sophisticated mixed media, so that it's not just text, not just video, but how can you mix all of them and use it in a campaign? How do I serve my marketing campaigns across multiple platforms? There they will need help. A lot of marketers will look at apps, and apps have to be developed by somebody, and these have to be customized apps. I don't think the marketers are going to be able to specify things in so much detail which a developer would require. So they will need the CIO's help in helping them get these apps developed so that they can push them out to the user group. And so yes, they will need to collaborate. The collaboration may not be easy, but it will happen, because the CIOs themselves see the need for doing this. And so I think marketers need to take the help of the CIOs as far as possible, and maybe even educate them on what they want and show them examples of stuff. And being technologists at heart, they are always very happy to see new things, and they are willing to experiment. And they'll be happy to experiment with them to get this done. So I think that's the good news out there, that Don't treat the CIO as a gatekeeper who always says no, but look at it and give them a challenge and they would love to solve it, as long as it's a technology challenge. They can't solve your marketing problems for you.
So this was group editor for 9.9 Media. They have CFO magazine, they have magazines for the CPOs, CSOs. So you got sort of a ringside view of what observers, people who track marketeers and technologists, what are they saying about this intersection of marketing and technology, and it is creating some level of friction between the CIOs and the CMOs, because now the budget for the technology investment for marketing is coming from CMO's budget and not from CIO's budget. Though CIO also has a reasonable and rightfully so concerns about security and risk, because a CIO signs to the CFO that all my infrastructure is sort of risk covered. So the CMO wants more, and then the CIO says, but who will write the risk application to say this risk is covered? So it's very interesting dynamics that will play out more and more in 2015 as we see it. So there's some disruption there as well within organizations. So if you ask me for my impressions or impressions based on my conversations with marketeers and marketing trackers in India, here is where it's headed towards. That the consumers are leading us. Let's be honest, as marketeers, we're not leading the consumers are going online, mobile, and they're leading us and challenging us. And in return, marketeers have to respond, and when we respond, we need folks like you, technologists or marketing technology providers to work with us. But there are 5 areas where I believe there's distinctive trends which will amplify more and more. So data analytics is a key area for marketers in 2015, because you have to answer the ROI questions. And no longer can you go and say, I have 1 million likes on Facebook. That era, dear friends, is over. So 1 million likes on Facebook or on your page, what does it translate to? So analytics becomes even more important in 2015. So left side of marketing, left brain marketing will become more and more sort of specialized and active. Mobile and mobile related marketing products. This is where marketers are actively looking for solutions from folks like you. So if you can talk about any application, platform, app, tool that can help India marketer talk to their mobile users more actively, you will get a welcome reception and open door for any company in India, large or small or young or startup, irrespective. And storytelling becomes far more important. A lot of my CMO friends complain that their agencies are not able to articulate the richness of what they want to say as a brand on digital platforms. And this is where I believe there's a whole new area willing to be explored. If you know a great company which can write great email marketing content, send them to me. I'm also looking. So that's a huge area where we need to have sort of marketing, creative marketing, storytelling abilities to come online. And online video will absolutely increase even more in 2015. 30% or more increase in digital marketing investments. That's my take that I see from companies I'm speaking to. Many of the MNCs are actually saying that X percent of digital marketing budgets in India have to be invested on digital or online. So there are clear mandates coming from MNC headquarters to India MNCs offices that they have to move X percentage from traditional media to digital media. So I do see a distinctive opportunity there. So that's been my 3 parts. One was how are India consumers challenging us in terms of their internet usage. Second was what are marketers telling us about 2015 versus 2014. Detailed report will be out shortly, so you can be in touch with us on octane.in and you will get a detailed copy of that. And third was what do we see happening with digital marketing in India when we see that from the outside. What's been clearly lacking in my presentation to you is some nice ads or creative ads, but I thought I'll just keep it more fact, data-driven presentation than the other way around. So thank you very much for being a sort of an audience here, which has sort of stayed put after a very nice lunch. And these are my coordinates. I think we have a few minutes for.
We do. We have a few minutes for 1, maybe 2 questions on your NCPA debut.
Thank you.
So if we can just get there's one hand, the first hand that I saw, the gentleman in the striped black and white t-shirt. Okay.
First of all, a very good presentation. Then only one point I would like to ask is why in India, every one of us only talks about digital. If we talk about digital, then it covers TV. So I think in India it's a misnomer. It should be internet, not digital.
That's a fair point. If you say digital, even somebody who's making a print ad on his Photoshop can actually say, or Adobe, whatever layout product can also say it's digital. So I agree with you. When I see digital or online, I mean typically internet-based or internet platform enabled. So I agree with you, sir, on that one.
Okay, next question really quickly.
If you could also share your name, that would be helpful, sir, for me to.
Yeah, my name is Sunil. I run digital marketing in a company called Aglaya Interactive. My question is, what do you see as the next big disruption, say, in terms of, say, Internet of Things, there's contextual computing, and we also have AI, but that would be premature to talk about AI at this stage. So I just wanted your perspective on how e-marketing may transform over the next decade.
Sure, that's a great question, Sunil. And I think the data, devices, and digital, I think that umbrella of 3 Ds captures that as well. I do have a word of caution though when you talk to marketeers in India. And that is the following, that we may be technologists. I'm also a technologist sort of in my training. Do not stay away from some of this technology terms when we talk to them. Because the moment you talk about AI or fuzzy logic or Internet of Things, you will start derailing your sales process with the CMO, in my view. There are a few CMOs. I have a very interesting CMO in Bombay for an equities trading platform company. And he talks about quantum physics. But those CMOs are far and few in between. So I would recommend that technologically, whatever disruption you're doing, if you can translate that into benefits and talk about them, I think you'll find a very willing audience. But I am seeing a lot more disruption. If you have even a great fuzzy logic new program that you've written, which can help somebody optimize how, for example, emails should be communicated at the best time, you will find that there is an audience of CMOs who are willing to take a chance. Though we have to demystify the tech part and not talk about big data or Internet of Things or fuzzy logic, because that does create some ambiguity for the CMO conversation. I'm not sure if I've answered your question, but I would simplify to say, what's your business problem? In fact, when I sell email marketing to my customer companies, the first thing I tell them is, do you measure it? And the answer is somewhat. Then my next question is, why do it? So if you start with that conversation, get to know what the business challenges are or where they're looking to optimize. I can tell you the e-commerce companies in India, their infrastructure, their technology, their platform, their usage, their behavior is perhaps world's best. If other industries are catching up, but e-com companies in India are doing a lot more innovation at a very fast scale. So that could be an interesting one to explore.
All right, thank you so much. Our time's up for this very interesting session, but like Punit mentioned, if we can take questions offline, I'm really sorry I'm getting notes from back here.
I'm just curious what you are holding, or entire session you are holding a book. What is that?
This is a 2013 report. So the one that I showed to you will come out something like this in a digital DNA report. There will be a print report that you can get access to. Just refer to our conversation today in an email or tweet to me, and I'll be happy to get you a copy of this in the first week of January. Thank you.
A PDF format.
Sorry?
In a PDF format.
I can get you PDF format, or if you want to pick up a print copy, we'll be happy to get it.
Thank you.
Thank you.